have they got Joe Pasquale? No. And here's why. This is the greatest save going on Football Manager.
Oh, I was not aware you could do a Joe Pasquale. Oh, he's so good.
Yeah. They might have the king of FM drafts. We've got the king of the jungle, so it's fine.
Hello there, friends, and welcome back to another episode of Football Manager Therapy. I am your host, Rich Owens. Joining me today, it's the delightful D-Boy Plays and the spectacular Steaky Bakety. Steaky, how are we?
I'm very good, thank you, Rich. What about yourself, buddy?
Adequate, thank you, dear. Yes,
Good.
It's lovely to have you back.
Lovely
D,
to be back.
how are you, my love?
I'm pretty good. I'm fresh off the back of winning a treble in Switzerland, so I'm pretty pleased with myself, pretty chuffed.
And rightly so.
And then and other things, I'm, as you say, adequate.
Adequate. We take adequate. Adequate's a solid 6 out of 10 in my book. I think it's nicer than saying 6 out of 10. It's lovely to be back. Lovely to be back. Apologies if you're listening to this and thinking, oh, I really wish they'd put out a podcast last week. We didn't. Fitness issues, mainly me. I've spent the week manually breathing, which sounds it's horrible. It's
Do
what
a
I've
Cole
sounded
Palmer
like.
impression.
Very similar. It's my exclusive diet of chippy chips that's done it. It's my cholesterol is through the
Chippy chips and
bloody
jam
roof.
sandwiches.
Why is he injured again? He's just got a stitch. He can't shift it. But so, apologies for last week and the lack of podcast, but we are back this week. Everyone has passed the fitness test. I've had some injections to get me through, not because I needed them, just because they're fun. I know, funsies. Today on the podcast, friends, we're gonna immediately bring the mood down. Sorry, everybody. Very, very sorry. And by we, I mean me, because in footballing terms, for your old pal Rich, it's been quite a sad kind of 72 hours for me. Listeners of the podcast will know I am slightly infatuated with a small Scottish man called Barry, and have been for the last 10 years. And it was announced this week that Barry Bannan is leaving Sheffield Wednesday after a decade, and I've been quite upset about it. I'll be honest with you. I messaged the boys. I messaged Steaky and Dee and Jeb in our little Discord. As I genuinely, I went Friday afternoon at work. I think it was, the story properly broke, and then I had a quiet second. I thought I'd check the news, see what's going on in the world. Sat at my desk. I was like, oh no. Fought back the sadness. Maintained professionalism to an extent, but it's really, really sad. I've found the news to be quite troubling because I love Barry Bannan. It's a rarity that, you know, these days in the modern game, it's not massively commonplace for players to stick around at clubs for prolonged periods of time. I think especially with the Wednesday being the way that it's been for especially the last 4 or 5 years. He could have left at any time, and he chose to stay. And he's chosen to stay, and he's chosen to stay. He's taken pay cuts. He got relegated to League One. He was offered Premier League football, decided to stay. All the nonsense behind the scenes with the chairman, and you know, and all the financial issues, and you know, the consortium coming in to potentially take over, going into administration. It's been rubbish. And then it's almost like the final sad nail in the coffin. So Barry Bannan's leaving the club after 10 years. And I suppose I just wanted to make everybody else as sad as I was just by talking. Let's all just talk about it together. Because, as I say, all the clubs that we support, and it's it's nice that Jeb is away this week because he has the audacity to support a successful football club. But us three championship dwellers, it's not been particularly smooth sailing for any of our clubs over the last few years. This season especially, we were joking the other day that we haven't done a traditional meet-up yet this season, and we might as well just do it next season when we're all in League One. It could well happen, but tumultuous time as a Sheffield Wednesday fan. I know things haven't been much better for the two of you in terms of your clubs recently, but having like a club icon, I suppose, leave under such upsetting circumstances. I mean, Dee, I'll come to you first as a Baggies fan, as somebody who's going through it as well this season. Have you had a comparable Bannan-esque departure that's really knocked you for six over the last few seasons, few years, however long?
Well, for starters, first of all, I would like to offer you and all Sheffield Wednesday fans my thoughts. And I'd also like to encourage, wherever they are, in the UK or the world at this moment in time, to go full Ethan Hawke, stand upon your tables and, oh, captain, my captain, to Barry, send him off the way he should be sent off. Yeah, it's really tricky, I think, because as far as like you say, our three teams, obviously we don't have that big money, so we don't have those big money signings. And I'm not saying that clubs of that stature don't have those icons, and when they leave, it's hard. But I think as far as the Baggies goes, obviously the most notable one within my lifetime would be losing someone like Chris Brunt, and I'd also put into the mix James Morrison. Both of them, because James Morrison retired. And Chris Brunt moves to Bristol City right at the end of his career. He was there for like 3 months, picked up a nasty injury and then retired, and then immediately returned to the club as our loan manager. James Morrison is now part of our coaching staff. And obviously in that moment, especially because in recent years, those two have been the most significant players. Another one I'd throw into the mix would be Ben Foster, actually, as well. Having him as our number one keeper, being the best keeper the Albion's had in forever, like, unbelievable for us. And the only reason apparently he left was he wanted to stay at West Brom, but the owners at the time, Gauchen Lai, he wanted to shift him on and get him gone, or he didn't give basically Ben any sort of leeway with anything or help him in that, with like, okay, well, we'll sort you out financially and then or whatever. It was basically like, well, you can just leave then. And he was like, oh, all right. But losing those kind of players, yeah, it's tough. I think the biggest gap, I think, losing those kind of players, and that's the thing I would say I've noticed most at the Hawthorns, is the leadership gap that they leave within a team, and especially with us. I'm trying to think, like, over the last few years, who have been the leaders since those guys went. We had Kyle Bartley for a while. He was pretty solid in defence, but I don't think he was a significant replacement. Jed Wallace we've had in recent years, who's been given the captain's armband, and he's been good, but again, it's the longevity, I think, of people like Chris Brunt and James Morrison gave them that weight to be like, this is what's expected of players here at West Brom, so do that. So they're kind of the biggest names, and I think the biggest thing that you notice when you lose them is just that gap in. It's almost a bit like, I'm trying to think what the nearest comparison is that I've heard, but it's like with those bigger clubs, someone like Man United, when they talk about like the Man United ethos and the Man United way and all these sorts of like legends of the club, is like, well, that's not how a Man United player should be behaving. And it's kind of like, that's what I think my team misses when we don't have Chris Brunt and James Morrison. People to go like, this isn't how we do things here, by the way. This isn't how you're supposed to do this as a professional. I don't know necessarily, but I feel like it's that kind of gap. I mean, other players in recent years, none of that, like, because we've not had players stick around long enough recently, like you say, to be legends or icons. The notable names that have gone, Mateus Pereira, we had him in the Championship and then the Prem. Great little Brazilian player, ran rings around the Championship. We got relegated, and then Saudi came in for him and gave him big money. And then the other one is Tom Fellows, probably one of our academy players who got sold to, Steaky, Southampton. Didn't understand the move. Doesn't make sense that he's moved to another Championship side. He would have probably helped us out lots this year, and I don't think he's played much for Southampton. So, yeah, it's a weird one. But I mean, how's it been for you with Pompey State? Because I guess because you've obviously had those spells in League One recently, and you've kind of gone down and then up, haven't you?
Yeah, I suppose in my lifetime I've kind of been lucky that I've not attached to that many players for too long because of how tumultuous Pompey has been over the last 20 years. We've gone from Division 1, aka the Championship, to the Premier League, all the way down to League 2, aka 4th tier, all the way back up to the Championship in just 20 years, and including a European run in that, and being the bottom place in the Football League for a couple of weeks. Yeah. It's quite tumultuous at Pompey, and there was even one season where we went through 63 players or something stupid like that, where we didn't have in our proper financial troubles down in League 2. So mostly we've managed to avoid that, and I can imagine that going and seeing that kind of player every single week, if you have someone for 10 years like Barry Bannan, that it's a little bit like seeing one of your mates, because you see them every Saturday. You go through the hard times, you go through the good times with them, you celebrate with them, you see them all the time, and then suddenly they're away from the club and they're playing for someone else and talking to other people. A little bit, maybe even like a long-term relationship kind of heartbreak almost. I can completely understand how the human body would take on those kind of responses to it. But I suppose the only people that have really done it for Pompey in my lifetime would maybe be David James. When David James left, obviously he had come from a time where we were definitely a early Premier League team scrapping it out for relegation every season. He comes in, puts in LMA Team of the Year performance in the season with Ronaldo's 2008 performance and Fernando Torres, and he's on the same starting 11 as those guys for those awards. And then we're winning the FA Cup, going to Europe, and then in 2010 we got to the FA Cup final again, whilst being relegated through administration under Avram Grant. And at the end of that season he decided to leave us instead of coming down to the Championship, and much like the lad you mentioned at West Brom, he went to Bristol City and played an average half season at Bristol City, and then tailed his career into, I think he went down to League One with Bournemouth. So seeing that was obviously very hard. David James was my favourite player at the time. He definitely comes to mind. And then there's a few that I saw the very end of their career at Pompey, like Limvoy Primus. He left the season after I started watching. So I saw a lot of other people react in the same way that Rich might be reacting to Barry Bannan, to him, because he had been at our club for a very long time, and he was incredibly well liked, massive community person. I mentioned before the podcast, he's very religious, and he kind of takes that as just being nice to everyone, which is how you should take religion, in my opinion. But yeah, he was just so lovely that we briefly named a stand after him. I don't know why we didn't keep the name, the Limvoy Primus stand. We now went like, nah, we're not going to call it that anymore. But all right, sure. But yeah, I don't think I've experienced it as much as you guys. I think I more experience it within video games. Yeah, I would say.
I was gonna say, there's the Pompey lads that I mentioned to you when I did my retro save. Do you still have it? Is it Lane? His surname, Paddy Lane.
Paddy Lane. He Lane.
Was he there? Has he been there the whole time, or has he left and then come back? No.
So,
who am I thinking of?
Paddy Lane was Marlon Pack.
Marlon Pack, that's who I'm thinking of, the other guy.
So Marlon Pack was coming through our youth system when we won the FA Cup.
Right.
He was then deemed not good enough for the first team. He then went on to have a very successful Championship level career as we were careering down the Football League.
Right.
He then came back, got us promoted to the Championship, and he's our club captain now. So he kind of redeemed himself almost, because although we deemed him as one of our own when he came back, I don't think anyone would have gone, oh, you remember Marlon Pack playing for us? He was great, wasn't he? Because he didn't really, I think he played one or two matches in the Premier League or the Championship. I think he was turfed out because we were going through financial difficulties, and we just went, well, the first lot to go is the youth team. Bye. They've had their contract ripped up. So I think he was part of that crew. But yeah, he's come back now, and I would be sad when he leaves, because he has he's been like a steward for the club, in the way that you were talking about captaincy earlier, and the way you are as a Pompey player. he understands the club because he supported us as a kid. He knows what you need to do to get love from the Pompey fans and how to act around the stadium and how to interact with young players. And if they're going out of line, he'll drag them back in line and say, no, you're not doing that. Get back in. And he's regularly the kind of player that tells players what to do on the pitch, and I absolutely love him for that. So I will be sad when he retires, and I imagine that's coming fairly soon, this season or next season, end of, because he is slowed down quite a lot. So he's gone from being a midfield kind of box-to-boxy sort of midfielder to definitely a half-back now, and even last season we were playing him at centre-back, so he's definitely slowing down a little bit. So that'll be sad.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Like you've mentioned kind of everything that Portsmouth have kind of been through over the last 15 to 20 years, and it's, I suppose, kind of contrasting and comparing to having somebody like a Barry Bannan-esque figure at the club for that long. You've mentioned the high turnover of players, 60 plus players in one season, was it? So it's,
I think so, yeah.
As you say, you're less likely to, I suppose, to have somebody who's been there through all of it. You hear about your players that kind of come up. They might they might sign for a club when they're in League Two, and they come up from into League One, into the Championship, and sometimes even up into the Premier League. But it's not very often you hear about the players that kind of they're the Premier League years that kind of travel down the leagues with them and then kind of come back up. But the one thing I've picked up on there, which I can't let go of, so I need to say it out loud, otherwise it's just going to stay in my head. So you obviously had David James that left Pompey to almost move sideways to Bristol City. Chris Brunt did the same thing.
Yeah.
Barry Bannan, of course, his last game for the Wednesday this weekend was against Bristol City. Do we need to fight Bristol City? Is that what I'm hearing? Do we need to scrap the football?
I'm up for it.
Yeah,
I think we could rally some troops.
We'll have them.
They beat us 5-0 the other day, so I don't like him anyway. So
no, absolutely.
They took Taylor Gardner-Hickman off us as well, and I was furious about that because he looked good as well. So, and what did we get in return? Andreas Weimann on loan.
Hooray! Not a terrible Aston Villa player from what I can remember, and
he's a terrible West Brom player when he was.
Now he's a terrible West Brom player. Crazy.
No, it wasn't a permanent move.
I was just a loan.
That would make sense. We
have a borrow of him.
We exchanged a sale for a loan.
Excellent.
Good.
I hate Gouchin life for what he did to my team. Ruined it.
I think it's the sideways Championship moves that hurt the most. I think.
Yeah.
They really don't make sense sometimes.
Word on the street is that Millwall is going to be Barry Bannan's destination. Why Millwall? Why Millwall? I mean, I know there were some Scottish teams whose names got mentioned, but I think that the reports I saw were possibly Scotland, but not Rangers or Celtic. That was basically it. Not the two good.
I saw one that said Hearts, though.
Hearts
who are obviously doing very, very well.
Would be a good move. Hibs would be a good
Hearts
move.
would be a great move for him. I think he is really good at football. That's the really frustrating thing about it. I think it's when it comes to Barry Bannan, my frustrations as a Sheffield Wednesday fan is because he's stayed through so much.
Yeah.
The future, we talked about this kind of in our little group chat the other day. My big worry is what's coming next for the club, because apparently there's word that the consortium that are buying the club aren't particularly great. James Board is one of the people that's fronting it. I think he's got links to I want to say Killy up in Scotland, but I don't think I'm right. He's got links to some Scottish teams, and apparently he's a bit of a shady character. So maybe if that was the catalyst, that worries me as well. But also just taking a sideways step to another Championship club, that's also upsetting. Somebody when I was streaming yesterday at the time of recording, somebody in my chat, we had a couple of Wednesday fans pop in and said, well, that we play Millwall on Valentine's Day. I'm like, don't do this.
Oh, no.
Bumping into your ex on Valentine's Day. Disgusting
if he scores
behaviour.
as well, that would be the worst.
He's going to score an own goal. It'll be great.
Yeah, but he'll score 2 at the right end as well.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking.
Would it be even worse though? Would it be even worse if there was a player that you really loved, like a Barry Bannan, and then they ended up joining your biggest rivals? If he joined Sheffield United, surely that would hurt a lot more.
Oh, 100%. But it's not traditionally. It's not a move that gets made very often at all. A direct move from United to Wednesday really doesn't tend to happen in the same way that Steaky. I can't think of too many direct moves between Pompey and Southampton.
The only ones that would have happened, and to be fair, mentioning legends, although these are player legends moving on, at the time, Harry Redknapp moving from Portsmouth to Southampton was betrayal of the highest order, and ironically, Portsmouth versus Southampton was today, and we got a tidy 1-1 draw, which I'm very happy about. But yeah, so there was a lot of pre-match about from Lamana Lawalawa talking about how when we then went and played Southampton in 05-06 or somewhere around that time, the reason we won that game 4-1 was because every single player hated Harry Redknapp at that time, and we just really wanted to stick it to him because he said he made the players feel unwanted because he just went, I've signed you and now I'm leaving for your biggest rivals because I think they're going to do better than you in the league, and we absolutely trounced them that season. It was a high point, certainly, as revenge. So I suppose Harry Redknapp I would include on my list, but that's the kind of... So he took Nigel Quasi with him, who had been at Pompey for a while. He took Ricardo Fuller, who I wasn't upset about leaving, but I was upset about the fact that he then scored like 100 goals for Southampton, considering he scored 1 in 2 years for us, which is always frustrating. But yeah, not many. It would have been that era, would have been the only time that people really make that jump. We did have one go the other way called David Connolly. He was a bit of a journeyman, and he came from Southampton to Pompey while we were in our 60-man turnover season. But apart from that, yeah, it's not a commonly tread path. I think with I'm going to say the word proper clubs here. With proper clubs, that line doesn't get crossed as much, because if you're the type of player that plays for the badge in that kind of circumstance, you know who you're betraying. And I think perhaps that will happen more for two clubs that don't quite have that kind of level of support, perhaps. I'm not going to name any names. I've already called them non-proper clubs. But yeah, I think, yeah, it kind of, there's a line there, isn't there? And if you genuinely enjoyed your time at the club that you're at, you don't tend to betray them. And it is a betrayal, it is.
Yeah. I think of, like, the only ones that spring to mind for me, or the one that springs to mind recent years, is obviously Craig Dawson ending up at Wolves, which is a weird one in that moment, because he was such an important player for us. Not an icon, but obviously losing someone like him. I think we lost him to, I want to say West Ham bought him off us, or he left at the end of his contract or something and then went to other Prem teams. And then he ends up at Wolves. And apparently, when we played that FA Cup game, when it was the 2-0 to them, obviously going down the tunnel, they've got pictures of all the big players of the last few years. So obviously there was a very important period of time where you've got Jonas Olsen, Gareth McCauley, and Craig Dawson as like integral defenders. Huge pictures of them on the side of the thing. So, and he's there in a Wolves kit, and all the Wolves lads are like taking the mick out of him, going, "Oh look, you're on the wall, ha ha ha! You used to play here, and now they're rubbish," and all this sort of thing. And it's kind of like, in that moment, they must know, like, this is going to be a long afternoon, because Baggies fans are going to hate me for doing this, and my own teammates are giving me stick for the fact that I used to play here. So it's, yeah, weird one.
It must
is
be
strange.
interesting to go back as a player for that. Like, if you're Michael Owen playing against Liverpool, or in a Man United shirt, or Sol Campbell playing against Tottenham in an Arsenal shirt, that must be very strange. I feel like sometimes those players don't really know what they've done a little bit.
Yeah,
I feel like Sol Campbell has absolutely no remorse for that kind of move at all, and would gladly do it tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
the other way.
Yeah, he'd go back. He'd do it again.
Yeah.
I think when you get to that level, I think almost the money transcends it, because when you see, again, when you look at, if you think, because talk there about, someone like Craig Dawson, like the Baggies for years, like integral part of that team for so long, eventually ends up at Wolves. At least there's a buffer in the middle.
There was a buffer, wasn't it? Like straight there.
Yeah. Whereas, when you think about your players like your Sol Campbells or like Carlos Tevez or Ashley Cole, making big moves to rivals, the money almost transcends it because you almost feel like, there's not necessarily that relationship with the club and with the fans that you would have if you're playing at a comparatively smaller team. When you're going to be moving, Ashley Cole moves across to Chelsea. Everyone's Cashley Cole. He's like, yes, Cashley Cole is correct because I'm now a multi-millionaire. Yeah. I'm still one of the best left backs in Premier League history, but I just earned significantly more money doing it for a different club. That almost transcends the. You wouldn't see like say, Pompey to Southampton or Wednesday to United. You're never gonna. It's never gonna be like, well, if Barry Bannan went to Sheffield United tomorrow and he said, you know what, I'm going to earn £500,000 a week there. You can't almost go, well, yeah, great, bankrupt the club, fantastic, it'd be hilarious. Thank you, Barry, well done. But honestly, you always think to yourself, go get the bag. Go and do that because it makes a little bit more sense. Whereas if it's just like I say, that sideways step, especially if there's a rivalry involved, you're like, but you must know. What it means as a player at that level, you must understand like what that's going to mean to the fans, and also like if you're moving to you spent 6 or 7 years playing for a club and then you moved to their immediate rivals. You've spent 6 or 7 years getting abused by the fans. The players that you're going to go and see, they're not suddenly they're not going to be singing songs about you. They've been singing songs about you for the last 7 years, but they've not been particularly nice songs. And now you've got to go and try and win them over. Those are real head scratchers. Like I say, Carlos Tevez going from United to City to earn, £200,000 a week. Sure, he doesn't care. Literally didn't care. Like, so he's like, I'm a multi-millionaire now, and it doesn't matter. If you think I'm earning lots here, you wait until I go to China. My goodness gracious me, I'm going to blink and earn $5,000. It's going to be fantastic. I think it hurts more because of everything that's happened, I think, with getting back to Barry, I suppose. I'd rather he left the league entirely. Like, if he went to, like, somewhere like Hearts, I can see that. Like I say, they've said not Rangers or Celtic, but I know Danny Roll loved him. And, he's a couple of Wednesday lads have ended up at Rangers or rumoured to be going. So why not? People have said, he's trying to get back into the Scotland team for the World Cup. I'd take Barry Bannan with me to the World Cup. He might not start, but he's just a good option to have on the bench. If you need somebody to come around and just move the ball around for 20 minutes, bring on Barry Bannan. Absolutely. Barry, I want to see the World Cup. I love you. Exactly. Exactly. Like, that would hurt less. But as I say, for me, it's the fear of what comes next, I think, for my football club, because it's been through a lot. And if he stayed through all of it and then somebody said, this is what's about to happen, and he's gone, now's the time, I'm going. That's the scary one. But I suppose, and again, as you've mentioned, Dee, when players like Ben Foster leave, and it leaves a hole, it leaves a gap, and Steaky, you've mentioned Linvoy Primus, and understood what it means to be a Pompey player, like upstanding member of the community, like a good all-round person, and that's what we had with Barry Bannan as well. He was facilitating conversations. He was essentially, again, the conduit. He was the middleman between the old chairman and the fans. He was trying to facilitate those conversations because he thought it was important that the chairman understands exactly how it's impacting the fans. I've seen people have been putting messages out that they've received from him over the years, like Wednesday fans, where he reimbursed one lad, I think it was £200 for an Uber because he had a ticket for a game, and he tried I think he was down in London, and he tried desperately to get up to Hillsborough for the game, and traffic was awful, and he'd hired this Uber, and he had to turn around and take him home, and he messaged Barry Bannan saying, I'm really, really sorry, mate, wanted to be there today, couldn't. Barry was like, right, don't tell anybody, send us your bank details, and he paid off a £200 Uber ride for him. He's a good dude. He's a really, really, really good guy. And he's going to be very sorely missed at the football club. And, yeah, it hurts, man. It hurts. I said this yesterday when I was streaming. I'm a 40-year-old man and I own 2 football shirts with Barry Bannan's name on the back. I mean, and that, I think that says a lot. He's a good man. He's a good
quarter
bloke.
of your life that he's spent at your club. Like it's
literally
a significant part of your life. I completely understand why people will be like, "Oh, it's only football. It's only a player. They move on. They're not. What will be there at the end of the day? It'll be the fans and the football club that will be there." Yeah, sometimes players are worth it, and I think Barry Bannan certainly epitomises that kind of player. And I'm sad to see him leave the league as well, because as a Pompey fan, until 2 weeks ago, he had never lost to Portsmouth. And every time it's like, oh, Barry Bannan's going to score again, isn't he? And he scores against us all the time for you. And to be fair, most of the time it's some beautifully wonderful screamer or a lovely little passing move. He's a very good player to watch. Certainly when we're in League One, when we'd match up in that league, like, because he was, just under Premier League level for some of your League One times. So it's the real standout player in the league that he kind of drag you through a game, and he was a good player to watch. So I'm sad to see him go as a rival fan. Not rival, but, a non-Wednesday
just a
supporting
good player
fan.
in the league.
Yeah.
Someone to enjoy
and
watching.
that's what the Championship needs. It needs
and I
players
won't
of that
enjoy
level
him
elevating
playing for
it.
Millwall. So
No, I know. Oh, honestly,
Millwall.
of all the clubs, honestly, Barry, go north, cross the border, go back home.
yeah.
Find the SPL club to go and play a bit of football for a little while. That would cheer me up no end. So there we go. Barry is leaving, and it's rubbish, as I say, when your favourites leave a club, especially after so long. I suppose, considering how long we've been recording for and how long we've been talking for, we should probably try and steer this towards FM a little bit as well.
What?
I know, mad, isn't it, Steaky? Mad, isn't it?
We've successfully gone multiple hours without
We
talking
really
about FM.
have.
To be
We've
fair, we
done
actually
brilliantly.
did mention it in the intro today, and I was going to say, oh my God, we've mentioned FM, but then we quickly slid past it.
We
I was
did.
like, okay, thank God.
Just,
Thank
just
goodness.
a little bit. Oh, by the way, we are an FM podcast, but we're going to talk about something else for a bit.
Yeah,
Something far more important.
exactly. To try and, I suppose, kind of bring it to kind of an FM level, how do we, as managers, inverted commas, air quotes, managers, approach players leaving your clubs after prolonged periods of times on Football Manager as well? Because again, especially if you're doing a one club save, you are going to, more often than not, bring in young players and try and develop them, and they can become stalwarts of your team. Eventually, contracts expire, legs start to go, or the inevitable, especially with the last few FMs, the inevitable bids from the Saudi clubs start to come in that maybe you just can't turn down anymore. But then suddenly there's a gaping hole left in your team. I mean, Steaky, I know you've done a lot of, you've done a lot of Pompey saves over the years. How do you replace that club legend that's been a stalwart of your team for season after season after season? Suddenly they're gone. What happens next?
Yeah, it's a real tough one, isn't it? Because sometimes when you're in a one club save, which I tend to prefer, and normally I end up at Pompey just because it resonates with me more and makes me play the game a little bit more hard than I would for another team. I tend to be the kind of person that keeps a player on as long as possible. I don't buy players for a couple of years and sell them on unless they're not playing, or maybe they're a young player that's not quite done enough. Most of the players I sign are a 19-year-old who I know is going to be good in the future. I make good, and then they stay for 15 years. That's my intentions with a lot of players. So certainly for my FM24 save, which I hark on about all the time, because it was very successful for me, and it's probably my most successful save ever and longest. We did 20 odd years, and in that save I've had multiple players go on for decades, to the point where it gets to the point where I start to keep little keepsakes of the save, because the save has become so important to me. I've got a spreadsheet called my Hall of Fame, which I keep when a player retires or leaves having already done 10 years. I write down their stats, I copy and paste their bio with their career achievements, compare them to other players that I've got. So I've got 12 players from that save in my Hall of Fame, and each and every one of them I could probably go through and talk about how they've made me feel when they've left or retired. But I'm going to talk about 2 of them. I'll do one, let you go around, and then come back and talk about another one. So I'm going to start with a player that a lot of people will recognise, and that is Francesco Pio Esposito, who a lot of people will have signed as a young player on FM24 especially. You can sign him on FM26 for a bit more money, and he's still very good, I hear. And he came to me in my first season in the Premier League as Portsmouth. So we'd done 3 seasons. At that time, it was a network save. It later became just me after my network partner Spoos left. But at that time, it was a network save, and I signed him for 17 million, which is a lot of money considering I'm a new team to the Premier League. I didn't have much budget. But basically, the players that had got me from League One to the Championship, and then from the Championship to to the Premier League, had noticeably lowered their goal scoring capabilities. And I was like, I need someone I can rely on in the Premier League to score 10 to 15 goals, and then that will be enough to keep me in the league, and then I can build on that. So I was like, this guy, Pio Esposito, he had already left. He had joined Leicester, so I didn't sign him from Italy. I signed him from Leicester City. And he went on to make 490 league appearances, or 769 starting appearances, and scored 451 goals for me, or 543 goal contributions, if you want to put it that way. And he basically turned my club from a good team into a Premier League winning great team. He dragged me higher up the league, which meant I could afford to bring in more players and build the club. I built on his back, basically. And with him, I basically started to phase him out towards the end of his career. He became a substitute. He slowed down. And then I had a player come in who technically was better than him. He'd scored a roughly similar number of goals per game, like 2 every 3 games kind of thing, like that kind of level of goal scoring. So really good goal scoring. And he was called Marcus Berent. Not Marcus Bent, Marcus Berent. He's a Danish Marcus Bent. And he came in and kind of took his place a little bit. And he fell out of favour. And then I got a £110 million offer for Marcus Berent. And I was like, oh, I kind of can't refuse that. And he wants to go. I think he went to Barcelona. So I went to Pio Esposito, who is in his mid-30s at this point. I think I need you to come back in just for this season, do a good job, score your 10 goals. I don't mind if you're scoring 1 every 3 games. That's absolutely fine. I just need you to score a few goals while I bring your replacement, who I've probably already signed, up to speed, and he can come off on the bench for you. I just need you to nod in those goals, basically. And he scored 60 goals that season at 36 years old, with like 7 pace at this point. He scored 60, not in the league, 60 goals in all competitions. It was 44 in the league. So Haaland levels of goal scoring in the Premier League.
Just 44 in the league.
Just 44.
Just the 44, yeah.
Just 44. And in that season, we happened to do Invincible in all competitions, which I'd never done Invincible before. To do Invincible in all competitions for me was like, oh my god, I've cracked the game. I've broken it. I win. I've never done it since. I've not even come close to it since. 1 out of maybe 200 seasons I've done on Football Manager. This one was the one. And when he finished that season, he said he was going to retire. And I was crushed. I was absolutely crushed. And I thought, the world's going to end. That's it. That's the save done. I don't really want to play anymore. It was about this point that Spoos left, and it became a single-player save, and I was like, oh, I don't really want to play anymore. And then this chap called Ryan Reed appeared, who is a 6'5", 17 pace, 17 acceleration, 19 finishing, ridiculous player who outscored him. So basically, the way I got over it was I just signed someone better. After all that, I just signed someone better.
I heard 6'5" and 17 pace, and I thought, that would help. That would help me through it. Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Yeah.
I was genuinely gutted though. Like it did make it very difficult to play on the save. Like when you've relied on a player for that long, it's you need someone like Ryan Reid to come in and take that mantle. And thank God that he did, because I then did another 15 seasons. So
yeah, that'll help. That'll help you get over it, won't it? Yeah.
Yes.
That's fair. That's a good coping strategy. I like that one. Just throw money at the problem. Throw money at it. Dee, what about you? Because I know recently you've been on the meds, and obviously now with your 26 and 26.
Yeah,
You're not
I was
spending
thinking about this.
huge amounts of times at clubs, but at the same time, there's enough time to fall in love.
Well, there's definitely enough time to fall in love at clubs, and I think, because this was the thought I was having, is like, during FM24, the big save was obviously on the med. I did have a couple of one club saves. I did have a save with Aarhus from L, which I loved doing. But I don't think we really made... I can't think of any club... There's no one from that save that stands out as a club legend. There's no one that's like someone that if they left, I would have been gutted. Because we weren't a great team, and we didn't achieve anything until like season 7, season 8. Like something big, like winning the Superliga. So I was just like... Anybody prior to that was kind of whatever. And then we finished after 9 seasons. Did a retrospaggy save, but that's hindsight really helped with that save. So there's not really, it'd be stupid of me to be like, I was really gutted when we lost Angel Di Maria. Like, it's this, yeah, of course you did. You brought him to West Brom. Of course he's leaving. But it takes me back to FM23. This whole sort of thought of this. All it reminded me of was my Rochdale save, and doing 19 seasons with them. There were a handful of moves within that save that were tough. And I think what you obviously mentioned, Steaky, is obviously the way that you deal with it within a video game. That sort of like, well, you know, you lose your world-class goalkeeper, you just sign someone that's just as good or someone that's cheaper and will be your goalkeeper for the next 10 years. Great, you've solved the issue. There were the notable names for me. In terms of real players, Paul Vanna, someone that I know is obviously gets picked up a lot, and I have to thank Viva for that recommendation, because he had him on I can't remember who he was managing. He signed them for a different team. He was like, oh, you should check him out. He's really good. Scouted him and was like, oh, he's actually pretty good. I should probably pick him up. Don't think he cost me a lot of money at the time. I think it must have been like 10, 15 million. And then was one of my attacking midfielders for my entire Premier League stint, the 10 or 11 years that we were in the Prem. He was there the whole time until the very final season. I sold him in the transfer window right then, because I think he was like 33, 34. As you say, like the physical started dropping off. Having him as a rotation option, he was just like, he's clearly not up to scratch to be a Premier League player anymore. Gonna have to get rid of him, which was a tough one to take, because again, you think like he was basically, because at the end you talk about you had your spreadsheet, Steaky. I also had a similar thing. I had a spreadsheet with all of the facts and figures of the players, but I also had I also made on Photoshop. You know how you can get like printed the like a team from a specific match.
Yeah,
we did a best 11 of the entire save, like most important players, like best nicknames that chat came up with, like best meme players that we had, like my dream, like my favorite 11 in there. I think Paul Vanna made nearly every team, because he was that significant. He basically won, I think, like, yeah, from the Premier League, he won the 9 Carabao Cups that we won. He won the 5 FA Cups, 4 or 5 Premier Leagues. He won the 2 Champions Leagues for us. Literally won the absolute lot for us and was our best player. The other player that it made me think of within the same save was a new gen that was nicknamed Maul Paul, which I think is Norwegian for more goals. Because when he first joined us, he was Brazilian, he was fickle, and I was like, this is a risky signing, but we'll see how we get on with him. And he'd score, score a few goals, and he'd be like, all right, fine, but he didn't score a lot. And then he'd moan, oh, I'm not being paid enough. And it's like, well, you need to score more goals to be paid enough. He's like, no, I'm not scoring a lot. And then eventually became one of the best strikers in the game. And then having the fickle personality became the nightmare balance of like, every transfer window, he'd be like, I want to leave. I want to leave now. And it's like, you don't realize how needed you are here. Like every other striker I had at the club, I don't think again until like maybe season 18 or 19, I signed a striker that scored as many goals as him in a season. He was the focal point. He was like, you build the team around this sort of striker. Super, super important. I think like there were the periods where he just constantly wanted to leave, and it's that ongoing battle of like, all right, try not to let him leave, because that would be the equivalent of losing that club icon. And there were quite a few players in that save that became icons, but I guess, yeah, Paul Vanna and Maul Paul were like the icon. Paul Vanna was the one that we got rid of. I think we did hang on to Maul Paul in the final season, but there were lots of touch and go moments where you think like, I don't know how I will replace you. You are that significant to this team. But then you just think like on those journey saves, the only thing I've noticed with it, and this definitely is something I think we've all seen in the game, is when you get those so I just manage young boys, and there were a few players who were upset, so I was like, all right, fine, I'll sell them. They don't want to be here, I'll sell them. And went to sell one of them, and you get that pop-up email that is, a number of players in your team are unhappy that you're selling this player. And you're like, why do you care? Why do you care that this guy wants to leave? He doesn't want to play with you lot. He's like, you can't let him leave. He's like the best player in this team. And he's been here, like, you look back in his career, he's like, oh, he's been here since he was 16 years old. He's played over 400 games for the club. He's 32 years old, and he just, he's been the most important player for this club ever. Cool. But there's a team from Saudi Arabia that are going to give me 22 million for him. And with that, I could sign 3 Norwegians. So he's gone. See you later.
Hi.
Yeah. Hi. Yeah, the little pop-up of team are unhappy that you've upset a legend. Yeah, funny one. Yeah. What have you had, Rich? Because again, you and I, we've both done journeys.
We've journeyed, and I think for me, the biggest thing, and I've experienced this recently, by recently I mean today, it's almost for me managing Feyenoord. I've finished season 2 on stream this week. And then I've had I've had a Saudi club, and I've had Real Madrid come in for 2 of my most important players in the team. Now, they're not players that have necessarily been there for a long time, but in terms of impact of them leaving, it's the same as, you've got somebody who, their first names on the team sheet. It was my midfielder, Jakob Modder, and Reed, the right back, who's been at Feyenoord since I think they signed him from another youth academy, but he's been there since he was wee. Reed had a release clause in his contract that I didn't know was there, so that was frustrating. And Modder, again, Saudi Arabia came in. We negotiated £55 million. And I was like, okay, that's fine. The issue I then have is not only do I have to replace both players with, and it's not like I can bring in the next prospect and blood them and then sign another young one and do it that way, because I'm trying to win the league and I'm trying to do well in Europe this season, so you've almost got to do like for like signings. The biggest problem I've had is that it's forced me to essentially adapt a lot of the way that I'm approaching the save in terms of fees I'm paying for players, and the biggest one for me, my wage structure, because I've been very proud of myself that I've maintained a realistic and also a very well put together wage structure for most of my players. I think that the highest earner at my club prior to this season was on I think it was around £28,000, which for a club that were pushing for the Champions League and pushing for the Eredivisie title, considering how much clubs like Ajax are paying players and PSV are paying players, was I think quite well balanced. It was Leon Gergic, £29,500 per week was my highest earner. In order to replace players, I've had to then kind of move the ceiling of my wage budget, or my maximum wage up, which isn't something that the club are asking me to do, because generally speaking, I've sold more than I've bought since I've been there. So the finances are all okay, but I also don't want to have the likes of, Shaquille Van Persie on £5,000 a week. I then don't want to have a rotational striker on 55 because it just feels horrible. And then suddenly those players want massive wage increases further down the line, and suddenly you're in a whole heap of financial trouble. So the most difficult thing for me has been not only finding replacements, but also finding replacements that I'm not going to pay over the odds for. And that, in and of itself, has been very stressful. My wage cap, my self-imposed wage cap is now £40,000 a week, and I don't have anybody who's quite on it yet. But it's now the direction that I think some of our contracts are going to start taking. And that forces you to just have to reassess the whole of the save and the whole of the time you're going to be spending at this club, because as like with you, Dee, I've got self-imposed rules in terms of how quickly I can move on when I can leave Feyenoord and go elsewhere. I can't do it till I've won a European trophy and the league. I have to win both, not at the same time, but I have to do both. And I don't want to butcher it, and I want to keep Feyenoord, and that's going to become a progressively harder thing to do as we start to lose these star players, as we start to lose these big names. And then the replacements that we need to bring in that are first team quality are going to be demanding exponentially higher wages. Like, I found great players. I've had a short list of about 10 different strikers, because we also lost Jonas Wind. No great loss, but we still need a striker. And they're all good. They're not world beaters, but they're all good, and they would be my third choice striker quite happily. They're happy to come and be a squad rotation player. Those expectations are fine, but then you get to the financial side of things. They're like, well, we want £55,000 a week. And I was like, I'm not going to give you that. And then straight away they're like, well, in which case, thanks for calling. See you later. They're not fussed. It's not in their best interest to come to my club. So that makes things more difficult for me in the long run, because I've got to completely restructure how I approach my transfers in general. I can't keep hold of too many of these players because, again, when you start to say no, that squad harmony, as you say, you get that pop up, and it's generally speaking, it's a lot of players. It's a lot of players. My third choice left back, Gilles Small, wanted a new contract. He's on £5,500 a week. He wanted 25. I was like, I'm not going to give you £25,000 a week. And I upset so many of my first team players by saying no to him. They were all devastated that I wasn't giving him the money that he wanted. I was like, well, sorry, lads, if I give it to him, I've got to give it to all of you as well. And I'm like, well, would that be the worst thing in the world? Yes. As it goes, yes, it would. Yeah. That would be terrible. Money. Then I'd have no money for anything for anybody, and we'd all be sad and poor. So that makes it tricky. That makes it very tricky. It seems to be a very close-knit squad that I've inherited. So when I upset one of them, a lot of other players get quite grumpy. I tried to move on one of my more elderly centre-backs, Watanabe, who wasn't very good in the tail end of last season. And again, managed to get him out the door, but in doing so, upset everybody. They were all furious. Ironically, the centre-backs. And I was like, but this gives you more playing time. They're like, I'm still angry about it, though.
Don't
still,
you logic us, gaffer.
I'm still cross. Thank you. I'm furious. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to playing more. You swine. And so that's been difficult as well. As I say, I haven't been here long enough yet to really experience, a Bannan-esque loss. Depending on how long it takes me to win things, I might.
Yours is Toplovich. You already care. You brought in your.
But he will come with me forever wherever I go, and that's not an issue. Now, will I complete the challenge before Luka Topalovic retires? That is a very, very different question. He's 21 years old now. Maybe not. Maybe not.
Becomes your assistant manager if it takes longer. You know that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you did sign which I thought was when we obviously on stream, I was there when this happened. You did sign Barry Bannan to be one of your coaches.
I did sign Barry Bannan to come in as a coach. Yes, I did. So he is with me in spirit. Is he good at coaching? No, but he's not letting that hold him back. He's trying his best, is what he's doing. He's giving it both barrels, and I'm very, very proud of him. So yeah, it's tricky, isn't it? From a football manager perspective, all of these things can happen. It can disrupt the flow of the save. Also, sometimes it's just not the same without certain names on the pitch. You know, it just suddenly, you know, we people talk about immersion in Football Manager a lot, and suddenly you're in season 15. That player whose name has been there on your screen every single game for the last 14 seasons, suddenly their name isn't there anymore, and it just doesn't quite hit the same. So, you know, these things can happen.
All that makes me think of is Callum's save with Slough. The amount of, and I guess that's also part of Callum's storytelling that he had, and beautiful way of just sort of making us all, because we all got attached to a number of players in that save. Obviously, you've got the likes of Hamzad, who was the guy. You got Dieterville, you'd got Jinadu, you got all these, you know, just these like icons that he had for so long, and then Hamzad Kargbo scored at every single level, and then all of a sudden he's not on the team sheet anymore, and it's like, this is weird.
Yeah, the one that I always think of with Callum save is Kessie Denton.
Oh my god.
He bought him in non-league to take penalties. That was, I put in his chat, mate, you keep missing pens, sign someone with good penalty taking, as like a joke. And then Callum went away for his transfer window, came back with this guy who had 15 penalties or something in that league, and then terrible stats. And he ended up not being that amazing for him at the start. And I think he went away on loan and came back and then developed the late developer trait, and then became an England international, rose with him all the way up to the Premier League. And then,
to be fair, Callum made him the England international.
yes, he did, but he did score. So
yes, yeah.
He clearly deserved to be there. But he definitely was just one of those players that it must have done 15, 16 seasons with him, and then brought him in on the coaching staff, and then let him go to manage one of his rival teams to see if he could have a management career. And yeah, I did a very similar thing with Pio Esposito as well, that I did what you did with Barry Bannan, and I brought him in as my assistant manager as soon as he was leaving, even though my assistant manager had like 20s and everything, and Pio Esposito was like, I've got 3. I was like, I don't care, please.
Don't worry, I'll look after you, don't worry, son.
Yeah, and eventually he got good enough to be given a future career in management, and I was like, okay, well, you can go to Italy and manage some teams. He went to Casa Pia and a couple of teams in Italy, and he has done absolutely atrociously and been sacked every time. And every time I'm like, please come back as my assistant. He's like, no, I'm a manager now. I'm like, you're not, buddy. Please return home. I'll make you feel better. Come and manage my under 23s, please.
Come home, son. You're terrible. You're terrible.
Yeah.
Your mum's worried. Yeah. No, Dad,
Yeah.
I'm going to be a manager. No, son, it's not going to happen. Bless him. Bless him for trying, though. Trying is impressive. Oh, what a boy. Look, it's one of those things. It affects us all in our saves in different ways. Those club legends deciding to hang at the boots, move on, move to Saudi Arabia. All of these things can happen. But as I say, there are ways around it. Bringing them back, I'm a big fan of the bringing them back into the backroom staff. I think that's lovely. Stack them up as high as you can, if you can. Absolutely. Nepotism is wonderful when it comes to getting jobs as a coach in Football Manager. Big fan of that kind of behaviour. I'll always remember Sheffield Wednesday players, former, bringing those back in. And it was, what was his name? It completely escapes me. He was on the books at Chelsea, came to us, he retired with a broken leg, then he unretired, came back to Sheffield Wednesday, played for us for nearly the better part of a decade. Sam Hutchinson, there it is. It was on the tip of my tongue. Had him in an FM save. He retires now. Considering he was the most injured man on the planet Like Abu Dhabi wore Sam Hutchinson pajamas. You know, that the man was made of glass. He wanted to come back as a physio with a rating of 1. I was like, in you come, mate. You don't know what you don't know what you're doing. He's got he's got a dead leg. How do you fix it? I don't know. It kept happening to me. He's got a job. He's absolutely got. It's like when you first play Borderlands and you meet Dr. Z and he's just hacking somebody up. It's like, this man's meant to be a doctor of medicality. It's like, yeah, he'll be fine. He'll work it out. He's got a stethoscope. He's got a magic sponge. He'll make his own way. Bring him back in. Nepotism for the backroom staff is truly wonderful. I think as we bring this section to a close, I want to say thank you, lads, for making me feel better about it all. It's been ever so nice talking it through with friends. I'm still very sad about it, but I'm less sad than I was this morning. So that's a pleasant. That's a pleasant thing. That is a pleasant thing. Couple of additional bits of business today, fellas. I've got a little quick game for us to play to round things off. But before we play our fun little game, Dee and Steaky, in fact, both of you, creative masterminds that you are, is there some form of monthly challenge that you'd like to give people maybe a little nudge about that we put out a couple of weeks ago? Should I ring a bell?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Yeah, we're starting the single season save challenge thing back again with the FMT. Over in the Discord, I did post in our appropriately labelled FM challenges chat a little save file and a little description of the save. We are doing our 1 season challenge for January. It is King Kazu's Dynasty. You are taking over at Yokohama FC. So if you've not given it a go, it's worth a little pop. I know there are a few people that have given it a go. I know that the Goodyear has given it a go. Hluthi has. Rocket Dan, I believe, has started a save it. And there's a few other people, obviously, that have given it a crack. But if you haven't yet, give it a go. Worth doing. There is no pressure to succeed, although Hlu has...
he's done quite well, shall we say.
If it were a competition, Hlu's won. But it's not a competition, so just have fun with the save challenge and see how you get on. Because he's won the league with 1 game to go.
Good job, Tone.
Yeah, absolutely smashed it. Because he sent me a message just like, "Oh, I'm going to start this Yokohama save," and he was like, "Oh, not had a bad start. Won the first few games." I was like, "All right, well, keep us up to date. Let us know how things go." Yeah, he's won it all.
He's quite good at Japan, is Hlu.
Yeah. Not good at third-tier Germany, I'll say that very much. Unterhaching has got his number, but Yokohama FC, he's absolutely smashed it with them. Sorry, Hlu, I had to mention Unterhaching.
Got to praise with the negatives.
Yeah, got to make us all feel better for failing when you take the worst team in the Japanese top flight and win the league with them first time.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's not bad. But yeah, give it a go. Obviously, we've come up with a few more, haven't we, Steaky? We've got them.
Yeah, we've got
quite a few months taken care of.
Yeah, we've got till middle of the year, don't we? We've got it fairly covered. But you've done the first 3, and then I followed on with another 3. So we have some exciting, fun ones to come. Certainly names wise, and you'll see when we post the February one. I assume we want to keep that a secret for now. To admin now. Do we want to keep that a secret? We can say it now. It's up to you.
Should we tell you what? Should we just have the name? Just the name with nothing else. So February's challenge, just the name. If you figure out what it is based on this, then feel free to start it and then have to start it again in about a week and a half's time when you realise you've got it wrong.
The save name is There's a star nan waiting in the sky.
So if you can guess what it is.
3 times. There's a Stjarnan waiting in the sky. What could it mean?
Who knows?
Who knows?
You'll have to find out in February.
Absolutely. Absolutely you will. So, bit of Japanese football, and then next month, bit of whatever that was. What a treat. Enjoy it.
Less FM. We're actually going to be cosplaying as David Bowie for the entire month. So that's going to be your challenge. Dress up
different
as Bowie.
different eras of Bowie. Yes.
Yeah.
I'll
Absolutely.
have the Iggy Stardust lightning bolt across my face in the next podcast.
Yes, I'll go early days of his career, David Bowie, where look, I've just broken out of a school in the 1960s.
And Dan, you've got to go Labyrinth.
Yeah, I'm
Rob
fine
Williams.
with that.
Yeah.
That's better than
Yeah.
that's better than the awful joke that was coming to mind. So
Now you have to say it, though.
I was going to say I was going to go for his Black Star era and then just not turn up because sadly he's no longer with us.
It's true. It's true. Jeb will be delighted to find out he's got to dress up as David Bowie at one point. He can't wait. He'll go Diamond Dogs David Bowie. He'd love a bit of that.
Oh, yes.
Lovely stuff. So something to look forward to in the future. Lads, before we wrap things up, would you like to play a quick game with me?
Sounds good.
Yes, please.
Why not? Let's do it. A classic FMT end of podcast game. So to celebrate, arguably, one of the most insane games of football played in the last decade, maybe even longer. On the global stage, I am of course referring to the AFCON final that recently took place. What a completely normal game of football it was.
Nothing corrupt about it whatsoever.
No, nothing corrupt whatsoever about the game, the outcome, the decisions within the game. AFCON, baby. It's wonderful. Truly. I love it. Lads, what I'd like you to do, and we're going to start with you, Steaky Bakety. I know. Imagine. We're going to start with you to celebrate Senegal's triumph in the African Cup of Nations this year. I'd like you to take it in turns, please, to name a current or former Premier League player from Senegal.
Okay.
I'll give you. We'll do it in a
week to think of some names.
Yeah, you can have
please.
play. Yeah, come back next week and find out how we're getting on.
I might just throw the pressure on Dan straight away and just say the really obvious name, and then he'll have to say something at some point.
Please don't.
Sadio Mane.
Sadio Mane.
I've got to say it.
Can I be the best in the world?
The wheels.
In the
wheels.
Ifs, and absolutes.
I'll do absolutes. Don't do ifs, ands, or buts, or maybes. I just speak in absolutes. Sadio Mane is going to be the best player in the world. You mark my words. Yes, he is from Senegal.
Excellent.
Is he though?
Is he? Is there really any way of knowing? I mean,
Yeah.
he, I think, captained them to the win, so probably.
Could have been.
You would think.
Yeah.
You would
that's what
imagine.
think. I'm gonna go. See, this is the awful thing about this is that, and I've made this abundantly clear in recent streams of mine. My football knowledge is horrific, and I'm doing this, and I'm getting my excuses in. Post tablet, so
He's on drugs.
I'm on drugs. So if you get any answer that's correct off me, then I'm good work from me. I'm going to go for another Merseysider, if I may, please.
You may.
Idrissa Gana Gay. Is he
Idrissa
from Senegal?
Ghana Gay. He bloody is, because I scored the winning goal of the game, I believe, in the cup the final.
Well done him.
So there you go.
I was about to say he's from Ghana. It's in his name, but no.
Yes.
No.
You know,
Big
Idrissa
fan of Harry
Bolivia Gay.
England Kane.
Back to me, is it? Great.
Back to you.
I am gonna go for an underrated and underappreciated goalkeeper who I think didn't have long enough in the Premier League before being turfed out. Edouard Mendy from Chelsea. Yeah, he was a decent Premier League keeper, and he started off not great, got better, and then just as he was looking like he was going to be the next Chelsea #1 for a few years, they went, nah,
Off you go.
see you later.
We're gonna rotate 4 goalkeepers instead of you. That's the move. But yes, he is, and yeah, he saved the penalty
There you go.
in the final.
Good.
It's good. Good for him.
It's good. Isn't it?
It's good.
Is that the game over? Is it?
Yeah, that's all 3.
Yeah.
We did it. Who knew?
That's
Dan,
the
I've not
three.
got a
That's the 3
third.
players.
I've
That's
not got
all
a third,
3.
so
You haven't got a third.
I don't think so.
I mean, I think I've got a second.
Ooh.
El
Tease me.
Hadj Diouf. Is he
El
from
Hadj
Senegal?
Diouf. He very, very Senegalese. Very Senegalese.
Yes. I'm amazed my brain has remembered that name.
Now, please don't put the photo of the child dressed as El Hadj Diouf in this week's
I'm
episode.
gonna do that, mate. No.
Just go
No,
put that
you're
out there
right.
already does.
No.
That's Halloween.
I've already got the thumbnail planned, mate. It's going to be all of us standing. It's going to be the clip from Dead Poet Society, but I'm going to put Barry Bannan's face over Robin Williams. It's fine. So
Perfect. Perfect. That's all we can ask for.
go on, Steaky.
I must have. Are we having lives? Because this is a bit of a guess.
Take a punt, Steaky. Take a punt.
I'm gonna go with someone that played for Portsmouth and think that they're Senegalese and say Jimmy Traore.
That's a good one.
Oh, it's not if he's not though.
Oh.
Well, that is that
We
makes
had
sense.
a very African team, and all of their flags kind of move around in my head.
Did Jimmy Traore go by a different name? Was Jimmy a nickname?
It's spelled DJ, I think.
DJIMI,
Oh.
I believe. The Jimi Hendrix Traore.
Did Jimi Hendrix Senegal Traore?
The Jimi Hendrix Experience, yes.
Is he?
Oh, you know what? Because I'm being kind, Steaky. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt because I'm going to assume you're thinking of Armand Traore instead, who is Senegalese. Because that's
Yes.
definitely who you meant. Yes,
Yes, the
Armand
speedy wingback.
Jimmy Traore. Yeah.
Which one
Yeah.
was Jimmy Traore? We had so many players.
Well, to give Dee a hint, because I think it's just because I was lenient with you to give Dee a hint. He's the only player with the surname Traore on this list. So yeah, probably not.
Okay.
Probably not him.
That rules out my next 6 guesses. Oh God, this is really bad, isn't it? This is awful memory, absolutely awful. Right, okay. Come on, brain, you can do this. Think of the flag and what it means.
What it means
To all
to
the
you.
great people of Senegal and all their delightful achievements. And what I feel like there's another Liverpool player.
Yes.
I feel like there's another Liverpool player, and I feel like they're a defender, and I don't know why I can't get further than that.
Is it Jimmy Traore?
If I'm now subconsciously thinking of Jimmy Traore, was it Jimmy Traore? Was it him? Is that who I'm thinking of? Did he play for Liverpool? No, they've had someone relatively recently. Or am I getting flags mixed up? I think I'm getting flags mixed up.
Yeah, I think I'm getting flagged.
You might be. There's a lot of very confusingly painted roundabouts around by you, Dan. I'll say that.
Well, yeah, with
this isn't the right
all
one.
alternating between Senegal and Cameroon, and they throw me off. I'm looking at them both going, I don't know which one's which. Which one's meant to be? I don't know. I don't know, mate. Right, hang on now. Let's try and play a little closer to home. Have you got the list of all the players?
I have, yeah. I can see it right now.
Have any of them ever played for West Brom? Should I be ashamed that I'm not remembering?
Yes, there is at least one on this list.
Oh God! Who have we had from Senegal?
I think it's. I can only see one. No, I can see two.
Don't come on, man. We've got 2
Oh, God.
ex-players from
Dee,
Senegal.
Now I say it. I think no. Look at it close. They've all played for West Brom at some point. Oh no. This is awkward.
Did I say West Brom? Flips on everything.
Yeah.
Oh God. I can't think of a single Senegalese player who's played for us.
I'll give you a clue.
Thank you.
I'll give you a quick clue, and then you've got a couple
Alright.
of seconds to have a punt. Actually, two players, strikers, both at Newcastle at one point.
Oh, no. Always good to have dead air on a podcast. Just
Yeah,
really good, isn't it?
well, I'm literally-
We're still here.
they were
We're still
both-
here.
they were-
We're still here. Dee's thinking.
I don't. Did Jibril Cisse? Was he from Senegal? No, I don't think he was.
Jibril Cisse is incorrect. I'm afraid, D. It's incorrect.
Was it Andy?
Steaky,
Carroll?
can you name either of them?
When you said two players both from Newcastle, I instantly went to the Amiobi brothers.
See, I
but
thought that before.
but
that
they-
doesn't
I thought
sound
they were
right.
Nigerian.
They were.
So yeah, it wasn't. That's not right then. At least
it's
I
not
knew
right.
I wasn't right.
Yeah, you were incorrect. One of them.
Oh no, yes, I do.
No, yes, no, no, yes, no, no, yes, no.
Mr. Non-league legend himself, Papi Cisse, right?
Yeah, Papi Cisse scored one of the greatest Premier League goals ever, and I say that unironically. And you've got Demba Ba as well, who broke Steven Gerrard's heart when Slippy G did the slip.
I was torn between Demba Ba and Jibril Cisse, and I thought this doesn't sound right, but I'm going with it.
Now, if you'd
People
said El Hadj,
saying-
if you'd said El Hadj Diouf again, I would have given it to you because there is currently a player at West Ham called El Hadj Diouf, but it's not that one.
Malik Diouf, isn't there?
Yeah, there aren't many current, in fairness. So you could have had Pape Sarr at Spurs or Ismail Sarr at Palace, NDI
obvious now.
Everton.
Indeed, of course.
We've
I
had
did
Idrissa
have one
Gana.
more name, which
Go
was
on.
Khalidou Koulibaly. That was the one that
Kalidou
came to mind.
Koulibaly, who pockets Aguero and Vardy, apparently, if you're to believe the song, or arguably the most iconic Premier League player of all time, Ali Dyer, also Senegalese. There we go.
Excellent.
Who's
did
the
have
a-
ex-Albion one?
I'm gonna
The
Google
the
someone
ex-Albion D, you could have had one of two. You could have had. Oh, I've lost them now.
Oh, I've just missed one that I should have definitely gotten.
Like
The
Pompey.
wardrobe. Papa Bouba Diop. I've had to Google him because I was like, I'm not sure. I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
Yeah,
But
Papa
he
Bouba
is.
Diop.
Oh, I should have got Papa Bouba Diop,
D,
man.
you could have had Mbaye Diani.
Oh yeah,
By Din-
Ndiaye, yeah, we had him
Ndiaye,
in
yes.
the Premier League. He was dreadful.
Or
He joined us halfway through the season. He missed everything.
and this is to sort of, I suppose, link things back because somebody Pompey and Albion crossover. Diamanti Kamara.
Ugh,
There
I
we
didn't
go.
even know he was Senegalese.
no,
Did you?
I didn't know Dimas Kimara was Senegalese either.
Apparently,
From
yes. There we
Peckham.
go.
Oh, we've had seven. We've had seven names I should have gone. Although I definitely wouldn't have got Ibrahima Sonko. Sonko, Armand Traore, Papa Bou Diop, Salif Diao, Aliou Cisse, Diamanti Kamara, and Amdi Faye.
Next time,
Diop,
can
I
we do
definitely should have got Diop.
can we do Saint Kitts and Nevis players? And can I go first?
I think you'll win.
Sure. Yeah.
Remain Sawyers. Good luck.
Pass.
Hey, we'll call it a draw.
Well done,
A
Steaky, proud of you.
respectable tie, fellas.
It's not a draw. You can't give me.
respectable
We
tie.
can't give me a win for Saint Kitts and Nevis. Come on now, guys.
To be fair, we've just given me the win for saying Jimmy Traore. I definitely meant Jimmy Traore, not Armand. Oh
Yeah.
dear.
Oh, a couple of weeks ago, I went on the on the WFM show and got really cross with Alice for her arbitrary scoring system. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sorry, Alice. Sorry for everything. This is hard. Fellas, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me this evening. That feels very much to me like the end of a podcast.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
the
And
lovely
thank you for
stuff.
hanging out with us, Rich. It's been lovely.
Yeah, thank you,
Pleasure,
boys.
lads. Absolute pleasure. Before we go, if the people wanted to find us, maybe do anything on the internet, Steakity Bakety, where can they find you online?
As always, on you guys' channels.
Hooray.
And maybe twitch.tv/the_steak_bake at some point. And of course, follow Jebaroo as well. Please do. Lovely human being.
He's a good boy. Does good things. Twitch.tv/Jabaroo.
Right.
Do that. Deebles, where can people find you if they want to watch you streaming some Football Manager content or maybe talking about all those lovely songs that you've recently written?
Well, if you'd like to see me on the streams, twitch.tv/dboyplays. And if you want to listen to the music anywhere, wherever you get your music from, dboy plays. It'll be there, honest.
I use Spotify. It's there on Spotify.
It is.
Spotify. It's on all. It's on all good digital platforms and some of the bad ones.
Yes.
So
yes. Tinder is on there. Is this?
How about you?
Twitch.tv/Rich Owens FM. That's where I can be found. Is it new music week this week, D?
Yes, it will be. Yes, the Friday after this podcast release, we'll be releasing the song that begins with the letter C.
It's Conquistador, guys. Definitely Conquistador.
I will say this because I do it because over on my Spinstagram and TikTok, I am asking people put a guess for the song title in. Steaky, so far, both words, incredible suggestions. Not right, but I love the words. Balderdash and Conquistador.
Conquistador
Really
at one point was the least used C word in the English language. And so I've endeavoured to bring it back. So whenever someone says, say a random word, I'm like, Conquistador. I like it. It's not even English. Don't know why it's in the dictionary.
What's the most used C word in the English language?
It is.
Can?
Is that?
Cottage pie.
No, it's
can't.
Yeah. Well, we'll see you all next Tuesday. Thank you very much, everybody. Because we will. That's when the podcast comes out. Thank you all very much for listening, for watching, however you are consuming the podcast. We appreciate you enormously. Fellas, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'll see you next week, and we'll see you next week, you, the audience, for another episode of Football Manager Therapy. Until then, take care. Love you lots. Oh, this is normally where Jeb screams bye. There we go. Somebody else did it. Bye.
bye-bye.
Bye now.
Hey everybody, it's me, Cupby. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I tried for a little while. Hey, you know Cupburger. It's a mutual aid fund created by us for us to take care of our needs. Folks have been applying for grants, getting paid out. Folks have been donating, giving us money every month. We're so grateful. This has been really cool work, and we've met a lot of need already. However, there are some projects that we've been wanting to address that are above our monthly cap allowance. So we've created special projects. And we're launching special projects. If you have a need that is more than our monthly allowance, get in touch. Admins will get in touch with you. We can help you set up a GoFundMe, and Cupburger will be paying out up to 50%. So these are just burgers that look like, anyway, don't get distracted. Up to 50% of our income every month will be paid out to special projects who we have partnered with until those projects' needs are met. Meaning, you may see new chat commands in chat that tell you to go direct to a GoFundMe if you want to give someone money. That's because they're a Cupburger partner, and Cupburger is working with them to fulfill their crowdsourcing needs. Special projects, now a part of Cupburger. Give money. Apply. Cupburger. Have a great day. Bye.